So the main character's ex-boss from the drug unit and his therapist are both visiting the main character, and when they both leave from visiting him, the ex-boss turns to the therapist and pleads to treat the main character like an old friend than a patient, because his therapist is his ex-girlfriend, an old childhood friend. He asked her to basically treat him the same way she used to treat him and not treat him like a therapist would treat her patient, which is a little wrong. The main character survived the accident because the male lead saved his life and gave him CPR, and this is literally the second time the male lead has given the main character mouth-to-mouth CPR. The first time around was when the main character had something he was allergic to, and the male lead had to give him CPR then. So during the time the main character was undercover cop, he had to keep the drug lord alive, because if the drug lord died, then someone would just replace him. So he had to keep the man alive, because all the work he did to get this man to trust him would fall through, and then all the work he'd done would be ruined. But yeah, so after saving the drug lord's life, the drug lord's like, I'm going to give you the title of brother, and he also states to the main character, after trying to get the main character to try to get into his pants, he pushes that away, and he tells the main character that he wouldn't mind dying by the main character's hand. I'm like, oh, what? So you know how earlier I said that the main character might have drowned a woman, an innocent woman, while as an undercover cop? Well, that's probably not true. The main character is just having nightmares and visions of killing a woman, but he has no memories of doing this. He even tells his therapist, his ex-girlfriend, the visions he's been having, because he technically has to. And she tells him that it probably is not true. Even if there's an ability where you've gone through really horrible trauma that you erase things from your memory, she states that it's probably not true. That she knows him, and down deep he's a good person, and he never would lay hands on an innocent woman, even as an undercover cop. The main character even gets the male lead to draw a picture of this woman because he wants to find this woman. He is so sure this woman is a real person, or at least try to prove that these visions aren't real. What he's having isn't real. So he has the male lead paint a portrait of the woman that the main character is having visions of. Another moment where the main character was an undercover cop, he discovers that the drug lord was selling girls. He had a brothel where he kept slave girls. And the youngest ages were 7 and 8. Yet he kept 7 and 8-year-old girls in his brothel and were selling girls in auctions. And the main character's like, yeah, no. So he burns that brothel to the ground and the connections to the ground and gets the girls to escape. He's like, run. And luckily he didn't get caught, because one of the drug lord's concubines stands up for the main character and protects the main character. It's like, the main character had been with me all night, because he handed the girl over to the main character before as a reward for the main character, in a way to keep the main character in line. But the main character did nothing with her, and she's like, oh, you're gay, aren't you? Or what are you? Weirdo. But she stood up for him at this moment. And then she protects him because one of his cops got caught that he gave information to. He got caught, and the cop refused to give the main character up. He was willing to kill himself, and the main character was going to kill the dude to keep, keep the man from being tortured, because the drug lord had full-on plans to torture this man to give up who the undercover cop was. And the concubine decides to shoot the cop instead for the main character, so the main character didn't have to kill one of his own men. Because if the main character killed one of his own men, he'd still be revealing his identity. So she killed the cop for the main character and got killed. And while she was dying, the main character rushed to her side. And she reveals the reason why she's been protecting the main character this entire time was because one of the little girls that the main character saved from the brothel house and from the slave auction was one of her own sisters. Was her little sister, and the main character saved her life, so she gave her life to save the main character for the debt she owed him. And the moment I just talked about the cop officer who got caught, yeah, the main character gets yelled at by a ton of people for being the cause of his comrades' deaths, and the main character suffers through that. He is made to be blamed for his fellow comrades' deaths when they got caught from the information he would give. It's kind of sad. So the main character asks the male lead on a date, a quote-unquote date, but it's not actually a date. Well, the main character says it's introducing the male lead to his in-laws. And so he takes the male lead to the psych ward the main character's mother is staying at. And when she sees the main character, she physically beats him, repeatedly beats him. They have to pull her off to get him, protect the main character. And the main character is just letting her beat the shit out of him. And she's claiming the main character is not her child. Like, and Melly even makes a portrait of who she says her child is, which is a 12-year-old version of the main character. And then later, the therapist goes and visits her, and the therapist is talking with her, and she tells, like, the woman, the main character's mother, tells the therapist that the man that came to visit her is not her son, and she knows it. No matter what people state that she's gone insane and she's crazy, as a mother, she will know that this person is not her son. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? But she could be right, but I'm not sure. But I'm getting a little suspicious here. Also, before the main character invited the Melly to a date, the main character had teased the Melly because the Melly keeps showing up at places the main character is at. And the main character's like, oh, are you my stalker? Are you in love with me? Because this is, like, too much of a coincidence for you to always show up where I am. Like, you have feelings for me, don't you? Like, we can be together if you want, but it flops for him. Like, it backfires because they're at a boxing ring tournament, and Melly wasn't there for the main character. He was there for the tournament. But I'm also like, no, you were there for the main character. You were there for the tournament and for the main character. And the main character sits there and cheers for him like a little cheerleader, going, that's my man. Yes, get him. Like, it was super adorable.